Well, do you think that's the reason why I was about to say Hitler? Do you think that's the reason why Trump came in and just swooped these people off their feet?
I don't know, man. It's a tough, complex one on that one. I think where people are like naturally racist in a way, right? Like they discriminate naturally. I mean, we've all done some type of discrimination. You know, we come from Visalia, right? There's di- there's discrimination all around. So we base we're products of our environment at the end of the day, right? But it's not until it's not until it's not until you freaking go out of your own realm, you make friends that are different ethnicities or different cultures or anything like that,
Mm,
you get to see a light of maybe what you perceived as what part of the discrimination you grew up with or you viewed as part of the world wasn't maybe
mm,
as correct as it was, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Visalia.
Dude, I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot
no,
of
no.
discrimination in
There's a hell of
Wesley. What are you gonna
discrimination
do?
in Visalia.
Yeah,
And the discrimination in Visalia is not just like whites versus minorities, or it's also like other people of color versus each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
Asians
minorities
versus
versus
Mexicans.
minorities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first experience with racism in Visalia was when these Mexican kids called me Chino as I was walking by their house, and I was like, "What's a Chino?" And they're like, "Oh, a Chinese." I was like, "I'm not even Chinese," and I'm like 5 years old trying to comprehend what a Chinese person is because I don't know what the fuck Chinese people are. Is it like chow mein fried rice? I make chow mein and fried rice, and and when I think when Trump came along, I started experiencing a little bit more racism or prejudice with white people, because before it used to be like microaggressions where it's like some things here and there, but it was whatever. But after 2005 and on, it became like full blown on aggressions. Like I've one time a lady said to me, um, "I'm glad you can speak English and welcome back to this country," and threw a menu at me because she was trying to ask a question and I didn't know what she was saying. To her benefit, I was super hungover, so I couldn't answer her question anyways.
Where was this at?
This was in San Francisco in
Wow,
2015. Um, but I've
crazy.
also experienced a bunch of other stuff where I've been called a chink or a gook in the middle of the street, and it's kind of happened more. In this year, I was called a zipperhead and a gook and a Chinese virus in the bathroom of 24 Hour Fitness in Koreatown. I think in February when the virus first happened. So there's been an explosion of
Dude,
racism.
crazy.
And that's the thing. I think with Trump as president, it kind of made things worse, or
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
the
yeah.
racists came out. The racists came out in droves. They're
Mm,
always there. They're just secretly hiding in their basements. But as soon as Trump got office, it just emboldened them.
mm.
They just started coming out and being blatant about it because their president's racist. So why can't they be racist too?
Yeah.
It gave him an avenue to ex- explore a certain side of themselves that they couldn't as when we had a black man as a president for 8 years.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know.
they definitely were emboldened for sure, and they became very bold. They
Mm,
became very, uh, vo like verbal about, how they felt. Maybe they've always felt this way, right? I mean,
mm,
you never know, but I think for them, he picked a part of people that have always probably existed, part of their lives,
mm.
in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's like maybe you could cut this part out and put the Dave Chappelle.
White power! America's at war with Al Qaeda, but we're still losing the war against Al Sharpton. Let's talk about Chinese people with their kung fu and all that silly chang chang chong chong. Open up your heart and let that hate out. Be afraid.
Hate,
Part where
hate, 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 hate.
where you go, hey, you got hate in your heart, let it out. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, dude, it's
Chain,
crazy, bro.
chain,
Yeah.
chain, chain, patty whack. I can't understand you. Go back to your country.
Yeah.
Condoleezza Rice sounds like.
Yeah,
And
dude.
that's why he left his wife of 27 years. He said because.
She was an inward lover.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
I
it's
can
ridiculous.
say that.
I think it's one of those things where you have to, you know, you have to view it from a different perspective. Like it's one, honestly, the United States was built, like the majority was built on racism, right? Like the founding fathers discriminated against natives, discriminated against other Europeans when they were coming. So there was always discrimination coming from
Mm.
all aspects, right? So you have to always think about that part. And we didn't abolish slavery till just, 60 years ago or whatnot. Or no, wait, how long was slavery abolished ago? My bad. I'm talking about Jim Crow. My
Jim
bad.
Crow. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was thinking about Jim Crow. I was thinking about Jim Crow.
I was like, I don't think there were cars in Roots, bro.
Yeah. Thinking about it's a recent thing, right?
Civil rights.
Yeah, civil rights.
Yeah. So the whole Jim Crow thing didn't get abolished so recently. So you have to think about it. It's still fresh, dude. Like it's still very recent in our time.
Well, you know what's kind of hypocritical after the whole election thing, right? A lot of people say like, I think it's appalling that people voted for Biden because they just don't like Trump. Like they didn't even read his policies. I was like, okay, but then aren't you the same person who said I'm voting for Trump because I like how he's an asshole? You know,
like
it's just like
a businessman.
I was like, you're not basing your vote on any facts. You're just like, oh, he's a troll. I love him. You know,
that's my favorite is when they say I voted for him because he's a businessman.
Oh God, it's the worst.
Please look at his business record. He's bankrupt like 20 companies. It's fucking the worst businessman ever.
Not only that, but Trump University went bankrupt.
Trump University.
Did you hear about that?
Dude, his Trump University went bankrupt years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, he couldn't even run a school.
He lost the casino. A casino. They literally give you their money and he couldn't fucking do it. Like, it's rigged. The casino's rigged, so you don't have to. What?
Yeah, so you don't win enough, right?
Yeah.
Unless they pulled out Ocean's 11 on him on that.
And he killed the USFTL. God damn it.
But anyways, so yeah, even with Trump in or out of office, we don't know what's going to happen yet. Do you guys think it's going to go away? Do you guys think that people are now going to be like, okay, well, it happened, so.
Dude, our history repeats itself, man. So more than likely, I think, down the road, something's going to happen. They're going to go to the shadows for now, right? They're going to be like, well, we can't be relevant right now, but we'll like sit back, watch things, and come back at another precise moment in time, like the Trump situation. And it'll repeat itself in some shape or form, right? At least that's my opinion. I feel like that will happen. It's just like we'll forget about it in a couple of years and not even think about it, and bam, get you, again. So
yeah, well, that Fox News anchor, she said that if Trump doesn't win or he doesn't run again in 2024, then they're gonna wait for somebody else to come along to help him out or carry his same ideas.
It's like all the people that would say that that Biden tax is gonna affect them, the 400K Biden tax. You're like, dude, you make 30K, relax. Like.
No, what's the meme? It was like, oh, you guys don't understand economics because if these companies get charged 400K, then it's gonna trickle down. I'm like,
if your ceiling looks like this, you don't need to be worried about Biden's tax.
Right.
It's even with the tax plan or higher minimum wage. The thing is like companies still downsize. They still fired people because of automation. Automation made it so they don't need humans. McDonald's did automation. There's only 1 or 2 people working in the front, and then everybody else works in the back in the kitchen, and the robots are there to take your order. And people are still losing jobs. People are still paying more because of taxes, and I just don't get it, man.
It's just they don't understand how that works. I mean, most Trump supporters are not educated in that sense, right? Most of them have a high school education. They don't receive college degrees, right? A lot of the males, at least. And then he taps into a different side of male, like I guess the male mentality, which is machismo, right? The machismo aspect of it, where it's like, okay, you're the man, you have to dominate, you know, women are second class, basically, like they come second to men. So he tapped into that into that aspect of, you know, male whatever society or mentality. So it's like, dude, but he was smart about it. I mean, you know, that's why there was a more of a Latino turnout for him. There was more white males that voted for him. So it kind of ties hand in hand, to be honest. But yeah, the less educated always are gonna vote for the people that I have no idea how he does it, but he did it.
I think that if somebody were to tell me like I voted for Trump because I have $1 million or I make over 500K and I'm trying to protect my money, I'm like, okay, I get
That's
it.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, reasonable. Or if somebody were to go like I voted for Trump because I'm a racist, I'm like, okay, you have a valid choice, you know.
Yeah.
But if another person in Visalia who is on unemployment on WIC, live in Section 8 housing, receives any kind of like Medi-Cal, Medicare, whatever, tells me they voted for Trump because he's gonna make the country better, I'm like, you're the reason why the taxes are going up because
Mhm.
we're paying for your house.
We're paying for your housing, your food,
Yeah, America
your
is supposed
kids'
to.
food.
We're supposed to hear America is supposed to be your helping hand, not the baby daddy. All right.
Well, that's the best part is the majority of EBT recipients are white Southerners.
Mhm. It's a ridiculous amount, yeah. That the white folks, the white demographic does get a lot of social programs themselves, and
Because they're poor and disenfranchised, but still, yeah.
they're the ones that they took our jobs.
Yep.
You know, they took our jobs. But I think it has to do a lot with education, not having maybe, you know, vocational training or just like any type of higher up training to get a better job. So they prey on these individuals because they can't get anything better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always my favorite though, because I see white people bitch about social programs on, Facebook or whatever. And it's like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about because the majority of the people that are on these social programs you're complaining about aren't black. They're white.
Mhm.